Hey, and welcome to Razzball Radio for Monday, July 28th on the Fantasy Sports Network. I'm your host, Nick Capozzi, and it's Monday, joined as always by Gray Albright, the fantasy master Lothario. Gray, welcome to Razzball Radio, sir.
What's up?
It's Monday, and you know what? We got a great show because not only do we have Gray, but in the third segment today, because now, Gray, we're starting to transition into football a little bit, we are actually going to have Jesse Ferreria of the Ballbloggers Fantasy Legend League. We're actually going to have the draft right here, draft lottery. Spoiler, I'm probably going to have the first pick since I'm the guy doing the lottery.
Wow. I'm a big fan of his brother, Jerry.
How was your weekend, Gray?
Most people know him as Turtle.
All right, lots of stuff happened over the weekend, Gray. Let's get right into the fantasy baseball news.
The biggest thing that happened was I woke up at 6 o'clock this morning with a cramp in my calf. I think I've been making fun of baseball players for too long. My karma's starting to come back to haunt me. I apologize to Ryan Zimmerman, Tulowitzki, and everyone else I've ever made fun of for being a wuss and not being able to fight through a pain in your leg.
You need some vitamin E, man. That's the problem. You need some vitamin E and probably stretch a little bit.
Really? No, seriously. Should I get vitamin E? Because right now all I'm doing is I think we put a rat tail into a giant cauldron with the hair of a cougar. I forget the entire recipe, but we have something stewing. But you're saying vitamin E? Okay.
Yeah, no,
Thanks.
listen, I'm not a kinesiologist, but they say that you're supposed to take that cramping is a lack of vitamin E or dehydration. So,
Imagine if I was one of those, what you just said, I couldn't even pronounce what I did for a living. People would be like, hey, what do you do, Gray? I'd be like, kinesionologist?
all right, let's get right to the injuries. And let's talk, and you brought him up, Tulowitzki. Now, originally went on the 15-day DL last week. They said might be a little bit longer than that. Now he's going to see a sports hernia specialist. Uh-oh, that's not good news. You need to grab Josh Rutledge, quick snap, 27% owned. Are you a little bit nervous if you're a Tulo owner?
Yeah, I am a Tulo owner. In one league, I have Tulo still in my lineup because it's 10-team NL only, and there's absolutely no one available. It's really kind of sad. I had Tulo, Zimmerman, Hayward, Michael Waka. Like you can go through the top guys, and you're like, I told you my entire lineup back in March, and you were like, that's an insane team. I'm right now in 8th place out of 10 teams.
Yeah, not surprising. But if you need
Yeah,
a middle infielder, you can grab Hotch Matato. Dustin Ackley, only 14% owned, hitting 375 in July. He's on fuego.
yeah. No, he is. He's definitely worth grabbing in most mixed leagues while he's hitting well. He's been moved to the top of the lineup. I like him more or less for just average and really slight speed. He's not much more than that. He's not going to give you any huge power, or he's not really going to be a guy who's going to stay hot for, you know, longer than maybe 2 weeks. But while he's hot, definitely grab him.
Is he ever going to turn into that consistent contact hitter that people thought he would be when he was the second overall pick in the draft?
I don't think so. He's probably
But
closer to like a 260 hitter.
all right, you have a sip there, buddy. I'll line up the next question. Speaking of Rocky's injuries, Cargo has a rolled ankle. Surprise, surprise.
I appreciated the fact that you were able to let me answer the Ackley question, whereas the Rutledge question you just went right through.
Well, I was waiting for you to sip that coffee. I'm trying to time it, you know?
Time better, my friend.
All right.
Time better.
Yeah, okay. We've discussed Cargo and his injury history. I don't think he's draftable. Obviously, comes to where you could get him next year, but man, he would be kind of a fourth, maybe fifth rounder at best for me, just because of the headaches.
I mean, I joke around a lot.
You do?
I'm a real clown, but on the Pirelli, like, what is the deal with like, maybe is it the mile high air that has just, like, is that hurt your ligaments or something? Like, I'm being serious. Like, there's something going on where It seems like no one in Colorado can stay healthy ever. Arenado, Morneau, Cargo, Tulo. I mean, you go down the list. I'm surprised Rosario hasn't been hurt. Oh, actually, he hasn't been hurt because he only plays 2 days a week. They never play him. How is that your everyday catcher and you don't play the guy?
All right. Jake Peavy got shipped to San Francisco. It's obviously a nice bump, him going from the AL East to NL West, but I'm still kind of meh on him. Anything, you want to dig deeper on that other than my meh analysis?
Um, I'll raise you. I go a meh with the chance of eh. I think that anytime anyone's going to the NL West, it's a good move for at least for a pitcher. I think you're going to see probably a 7.5 to and a 7.5 K rate to around a 2.5 to 3 actually lower than that, 2.5 to low 2 walk rate, which is it's startable in just about every league. No real huge upside. I mean, you know what you're going to get from Peavy. He's on a better team for wins, which is bizarre to say because he just left the Red Sox, but they've had a terrible year. And he's in a better park. AT&T is a lot better than Fenway. I like Peavy as a fifth man on a shallow mixed league team, and he's definitely worth bidding on for NL only.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Gray, what we're going to do here is we are going to go to break in just a second, but just want to remind you, because we are transitioning a lot in the football, especially with the tour coming up. I actually leave Phoenix Thursday to drive up. We are still going to be covering a lot of baseball. We're going to have Sky pinch hitting. He'll be doing some baseball podcasts for us, so don't worry, Seamheads. We have not forgotten you. We'll be right back in a moment here at Razzball Radio on the Fantasy Sports Network. We're back talking fantasy baseball here, Razzball Radio on the Fantasy Sports Network. I am joined by Gray. I am Nick Capozzi. We are talking what happened over the weekend. Real quick, Big Papi hit another home run. He's got 25. How old is this guy? I mean, at what point does he start to break down? Because every year I think it's going to be this current year.
I think officially he's 35, but he's probably a Latin 35. So he's anywhere from 54 to 57 years old, I think I forget how the calculations go.
Whatever he's on, I want.
20.
Whatever he's on, I gotta have. I gotta get in touch with him.
Who?
Papi. I want to know what he's taking to keep him so vibrant and healthy.
Yeah. No, I don't know. He's been he's been consistently pretty healthy too, considering he doesn't look like he's in the best of shape. Like if you look at
You're kidding.
I like Teixeira or someone who seemingly would be in better shape. I don't know. I mean, just looking at them,
He looks like a potato with a beard.
Look at their bodies.
Okay. Jacob deGrom spun another gem this weekend. He's been lights out the last 6 weeks. I mean, he's been absolutely fantastic. But here's my question, Gray. He's got to be coming up to innings limits. So he's a guy you probably want to flip, correct?
Yeah. I think he's actually pitching better in the majors than he was in the minors this year, which is never a good sign, really, for a guy. I think.
Why is that not a good sign?
What?
Why is that not a good sign that he's pitching better in the majors than he was in the minors?
Because his track record proves in the minors that he's not really this good a pitcher. He's pitching above his head, literally and metaphorically. So it's like, if a guy comes up and he suddenly hits 7 homers in the first week and he hit only 8 homers in the entire year in the minor leagues, it's like, well, is he really a 50 homer guy, or does it just happen that this week he hit 7 homers?
Right.
You know what I mean?
No, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah. So DeGrom was a high 6, low 7 K rate guy in the minors, and right now he's 8, looking at 9, which is that is, I mean, he's looking to as if he's a number two or even an ace, and he's probably closer to a four or five. He faced the Marlins, I believe. He faced the Braves a few times, a team that just K's a ton. He had some good matchups. I would definitely, if you're able to flip him, I don't think you can really trade him in a redraft league because really who's trading for him? But in a keeper, I could see trading him away as to someone else for a better pitcher or hitter or whatever you need, because he's in a keeper. Someone may think that like, oh my God, this guy's a great prospect, but he really isn't. He doesn't have a great arm. He's fine. He's decent, and while he's pitching well, you should start him, but he's not as good as he's shown.
Okay, fair enough. I like the argument. Let's talk about Matt Holliday, who has been okay this year at best, but he seems to get hot for a 2-month stretch every single year. Started to heat up a little bit on the weekend. Is he a buy low candidate for you?
If he gets hot for 2 months every year, he's got about 2 to 3 days left to really start smoking the ball, because he hasn't been really hot at all this year. In fact, on the Razzball player rater, he is below Lucas Duda, which, I mean, if you've had Duda, you realize that's not saying that much, because Duda has been really great so far. But still, when you say the name Holiday, you're like, well, he must be better than Duda, isn't he? Isn't he, Mr. Albright, sir? Fantasy Master Lothario? And I'm like, no. Holiday hasn't been better. Holiday's been like around a third to fourth outfielder, which is not what you probably paid for him in the drafts. I wouldn't buy him low either. I don't trust him to stay healthy. I don't really see much power upside at this point. If he hits 17 homers on the year, I'd be impressed. And he's at what, 10?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a terrible year for an outfielder. So when someone doesn't have any speed and they're only hitting 17 homers, it's pretty bad.
You know who's got some speed and almost 17 homers? Marcell Ozuna.
Yeah.
And he's available in almost half the leagues. Pay attention, people.
Ozuna is it's a hybrid. He is a monster in Japanese anime. Ozuna.
No timetable for Matt Cain's return. You shouldn't be rostering him. 75% ownership is just a waste of a space. But talk to me real.
Traded for him.
Who did?
Rudy.
Oh.
Where have you been?
Speaking of Jed Jerko is likely to be activated from the DL. What happened to him this year? I mean, he just fell off a cliff. What's wrong with him?
Well, he had the problem with his heel. The same problem that it bugged Pujols last year, to the point where, I mean, we saw what happened with him, and this year Pujols has come back and been solid. It's just when problem with your foot and you're not able to stride properly in the batter's box. I don't know. Maybe that's what's affecting him. He also had a really terrible luck with balls batted into play. So I think there's still upside there for him for next year. But unless you're desperate, I wouldn't do anything. I wouldn't pick him up until I saw something.
All right, your eyes look extra blue today. You look beautiful, Gray. Beautiful.
Hey. Seriously, how am I this intelligent as well as this handsome? The juggle.
If you want to come out and see Baby Blue Eyes right here, you can see him on August 7th in San Diego at Players Sports Bar in San Diego. Gray's going to come out and join us on the 32 and 32 and 32 tour. If you want to get on the guest list, email me, nick@razzball.com. Gray, we're going to talk to you again on Wednesday because, again, coming up, we're going to do the draft lottery for the Ballblogger Fantasy Legends League. There's some big names in that. And like I said earlier, probably going to get the first overall pick. Gray, we still love you. We just got a lot to jam in this week because I'm leaving Thursday, so we're taping all kinds of stuff. But we'll have you back on Wednesday, okay, bud?
All right, then.
All right, we'll be right back. Razzball Radio on the Fantasy Sports Network. Welcome back to Razzball Radio on the Fantasy Sports Network. I am joined right now by Jesse Ferreria of FantasyBallblogger.com. Jesse, welcome to Razzball Radio here on the Fantasy Sports Network.
Oh, my pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. You want to follow Jesse at FBallblogger on Twitter because this is a guy in the know. And the reason Jesse's on today, other than because he's knows his fantasy and can offer great insight, what we're doing, there's 3 fantasy football leagues we're going to talk about a little bit on the show this year. One is, of course, going to be the Razzball Experts League. We're going to live draft that this Sunday night. We've also got, of course, the Razzball Writers League, where I lose every year. But the only other league I'm going to participate in that we're going to talk about is the Ballbloggers Fantasy Legend League. And Jesse, you got some real legends here happening this year on the show, my man. So it is very, very, very exciting. Let's go over the list real quick. Obviously, you're in it. You run FantasyBallblogger.com, which is a great site. You've also got Dave Schmidt. Tell us a little bit about Dave.
Okay, well, Dave, I've known for a long time. He's now partnered with me at Fantasy Ballblogger. He's providing great content, really sharp fantasy mind. Yep, I've known him long enough. Dave is a legend.
Good stuff. We've also got Dan J, who's out of Buffalo, does some great video work, doesn't he?
Oh, no doubt. If you have to follow Dan J84 on Twitter. Sharp guy, puts together great videos of football videos. Definitely a great follow.
Good stuff. We've got Liz Loza in the league as well.
Yeah, nice addition to the league. Liz is great. She was just recently at the Nickelodeon Junior Awards. She was on the orange carpet they call it. Ooh,
nice.
Boston accent came out there. Sorry about that. Anyway, I am from the area, so that's going to happen. A little slip, the Boston accent slip. But back to Liz. Now, Liz, great fantasy mind. She interviewed Russell Wilson, Marvin Jones on the orange carpet at the big junior game.
Stop it.
Yeah. So anyway, follow Liz Loza. She knows her fantasy. Absolutely.
All right. Of course, I'm in it as well as Jay Wrong. Of course, the head football editor at Razzball.com. Corey Parson, the fantasy executive morning show producer at SiriusXM. Jennifer Millman from Roto Experts is also in, correct?
That's right.
Good stuff. We've got the king, Scott Engel, and I'll tell you why I'm shaking my boots in this league, because I got to go up against Scott and also Adam Ronis, the morning show guys at SiriusXM. That's a little intimidating, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, no doubt. Those guys, they're living it every day. I can only imagine how many leagues and drafts they do, so they're not going to make too many mistakes.
No, they will not. Rounding out the league is Rachel, the fantasy football chick.
Yes, she is, and she's sharp. She puts together a lot of great content at her site, fantasyfootballchick.com. She played in my Ballblogger Select Pickers Challenge last season, where we identify the best start and sits each week, and she really did well in that. So yeah, she's going to another tough competitor.
And Brian Forrester of Project Roto and Fantasy Ballblogger fills out the 12-man team. We are going to start this draft tomorrow. It is going to be a long draft, so everyone's got an hour between picks. So what we've done here is I pulled out the old Razzball cap. I can't flip it over because I got the names in here. But we are going to do this right here, right now. I've never done this before on air, actually picking the lotto. So here we go. Let us get started. Spoiler, I got the first pick in the draft. No, I'm kidding. All right, here we go. Without further ado, the first pick in the draft goes to Corey. So there you go, Corey.
Oh, boy.
Now, normally,
he doesn't need any more advantages.
No, he doesn't. Normally, you kind of think Jamal Charles or LaShawn McCoy, but there's a flex QB option here in this league. So how do you think that that's going to affect the draft?
Well, good question. And for those of you who don't play in flex QB leagues, I highly recommend it. It adds, and like you said, adds another layer of consideration to the first round, second rounds. QBs can go early. The higher QBs are worth more. So yeah, so it could come into play, but you got to grab those stud running backs, in my opinion.
Get those RBs. No, I'm
so we'll
see. That. Okay, next pick is me. Hey, there you go. I didn't get the first pick, but I got the second pick. No comment. No comment. So I'm going to have to see. Maybe I'll get Charles or McCoy. Or maybe I'll take – I don't know if I want to take Peyton Manning this year. I don't think they can do what they did last year. I actually think – I'm going to throw this out there. I think the Lions might be the top offense in the NFL this year. So I've got Stafford ranked quite high. My 2 cents. All right, next up, the third pick. Liz. Liz has the third pick in a draft. Let's just keep banging these out right here. Number 4. Jay wrong. You can see the Razzball bias at work right here. So Jay gets the number 4 pick.
Hey,
Number 5.
Did you shake that hat up a little bit, Nick, or what's going on
Shake
here?
it up again. The fifth pick is the King, Scott Angle. I wonder what he's going to do with that number 5 spot. Number 6 is partner in crime co-host Adam from the Sirius XM morning show, The Roto Experts. Guys, Adam has the 6th pick. Let's bang through these real quick here. And I have the 7th pick as well. Nah, I got the 2nd pick. I don't have the 7th pick. 7th pick goes to Dave. Dave gets the 7th pick. Let's see who is next. Where would you ideally like to pick?
I do like the end of the draft. I do like, maybe drafting 12th would be ideal for me. But any spot from here on out, I'll take.
Well, hey, there you go. You got the 8th pick, buddy. So start strategizing.
Great. I like that.
Good stuff. Number 9 is going to be Brian. Brian gets the 9th pick. Hope you're writing these down, Jesse.
I've got them down. They're up here.
All right, good stuff. Number 10 is Rachel. 2 left. Number 11 is Jennifer Millman. And last but not least, well, I guess I don't even have to pick it. It's Dan J. Dan J84 on Twitter. So, Jesse, who's the favorite going into this? Be honest with me. You don't have to say me, because I'm not.
Well, I did check the Vegas odds this morning, and they had Corey Parson, a 3-1 favorite here. So I guess I'm going to go with Vegas. They know what they're talking about. So
okay, if you had the number 1 pick, which Corey does now, would you take Charles or McCoy first?
Ooh, you know what? That's the $1 million question. And I'm glad I don't have the number 1 pick. And I'm still undecided. I lean strength of division, strength of offense, and just his talent and goal line carries and so forth and usage. I'm not scared of LaShawn McCoy in that number 1 spot.
No.
And even in a 2 QB league. However, Jamal Charles, he proved last year he can still get it done. So and even AP's in the conversation, top quarterback. So whatever Corey Parson does with that first pick, I'm sure he'll make a good choice. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So lots of good options out there. Now, Jesse, of course, you're from the Boston area. We'll see him. If you want to come out and meet Jesse, there's actually a ton of really good fantasy football people coming out to the Boston show August 22nd at the Greatest Bar right across from the Garden, 7 p.m. Friday night. So that's going to be a good party. And, of course, you can follow the entire tour. We kick off August 4th, next Monday, August 4th, from Seattle. We will be doing 32 days straight of shows, razzballradio.com. Also, last thing, before I go, Jesse, follow him at Ballblogger on Twitter, but posted the picture or tweeted out the picture of the van. It is now wrapped, and we'll put it in today's post at razzballradio.com. Thanks for joining us, Jesse. We'll see you tomorrow, Razzball Radio on the Fantasy Sports Network.